Instead of passing a massive bill called Build Back Better, some Democrats say maybe they should break the bills, break the massive package into smaller bills to get it through the United States Senate. Here's Maryland Senator Ben Cardin this weekend.
Well, right now, we don't have any Republican support. We have to recognize that we have to do this with Democratic votes alone. I think our best strategy is to find a common spot where all Democrats can agree and move that legislation. That's what we're trying to do now. That's what the negotiations are about between the president and Joe Manchin and the Speaker of the House and the Majority Leader in the Senate. We are working towards getting Build Back Better agenda accomplished by 50 Democratic votes. We would love to have Republican support, but to date, we haven't seen any real movement by Republicans to help us.
Now, Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, of course, Washington State, she says that, you know what, President Biden, move it through executive order. That's what she is encouraging him to do. She is the head of the Progressive Caucus. The question is, can this actually be done? Democratic senators are going to be meeting this week to discuss policy priorities when the Senate returns next week. Let's go to my panel. Joining me, Dr. Julianne Malveaux. She's the Dean of College of Ethics Studies, California State University, Los Angeles. Dr. Omekongo Dibinga, Professorial Lecturer, School of International Service, American University. Reverend Jeff Carr, founder of the Infinity Fellowship. All right, folks, glad to have all three of you here. All right, Julianne, you're the economist. Your thoughts about this, the idea of breaking this massive bill into smaller bills. Does it make sense?
At some level, it makes sense because we need the votes. Democrats need the votes, and they can bring Manchin along on some things. They're not going to bring any Republicans along on anything. The flip side of that is some of the most important things for progressives are likely to be lost when you start breaking this thing up. The child tax credit. There are just a long list of things that progressives have said they really wanted. And when they start breaking it up, some of those less popular things, less popular to conservative Democrats, are going to fall between the cracks. The problem with that, Roland, as you know, is that the basically the young people and others who came out in droves to elect President Biden, they want some takeaways. They want student loan forgiveness. You know, they want their parents to be better off. And, you know, where you have all this macro conversation about how well the economy is doing. And of course, spending was up by 10%, according to MasterCard, by 10% over the holiday season of 2019 before we hit COVID. Spending is up, but everybody's not feeling it. And so if you start breaking it off, basically corporate Democrats are going to be able to get their way and the rest of the folks are not.
Here's Congresswoman Jayapal talking about this to Lawrence O'Donnell on MSNBC.
I hope that we go back to, you know, somewhere between that framework and what the House passed, and let's get this through as quickly as possible. But Lawrence, I do have to say that I am an optimist, and I'm always happy to be the optimist in chief of the Rachel Maddow show or, you know, anywhere else. But I am also very realistic, and I do think that we also can't just hang our hat on the legislation passing because we thought we had an agreement. Now we don't. And what's to say whether we're going to get an agreement? And so we did, the executive board of the Progressive Caucus met 2 nights ago. We put out a statement today that comes from all of us at the executive board to say that we have to push on Build Back Better, and we have to have a 2-track strategy where we also ask the President of the United States to use the executive power that he has to implement as many executive actions as he can to immediately lower costs, to immediately address healthcare concerns because of surging Omicron, and to immediately show the world that we are serious about our leadership on climate change. Now, there may be some other things we come up with as well, but those were 3 categories that the executive board felt very strongly the president could immediately take executive action on. And I'm very happy to say, Lawrence, that we saw the beginning of that with the moratorium on student debt being a pause. And we are calling for another cancellation of $50,000 of student debt, which would have an enormous positive impact on the economy, but most importantly, would give people some certainty in this time of tremendous economic uncertainty to put money in their pockets, because it's going to be probably a little longer before we get Build Back Better passed.
Omekongo, your thoughts?
I think that she makes good points, My concern when you do these executive actions is that they can easily be reversed by a new administration. Now, of course, there are some things that could go into effect that people could need help on right now. But case in point, when former President Trump had his executive order banning people from speaking on issues relating to diversity, equity, and inclusion, I would go to corporations and government groups and they will say, well, you can't really say this today. You can't really say that now because of this executive order. Of course, Biden came in and it changed, and I was able to do everything I was doing before at these organizations. So one of the reasons why it's more important to focus on the legislative aspect of this is because it's going to be long-term. And it's going to be, enshrined into law, and it's going to be harder to go against those policies. But again, on the flip side, going off of what Representative Jayapal and others have been saying, there are people who are hurting right now, who can use whatever is going to happen with these executive orders right now or for the next year. Say they do something on the child tax credit, which ended, the last payment just went out, right? Say if they do something on that and people start getting that again immediately. So I understand, but if they're going to do it, they should focus on the things that are going to get immediate help to the people as opposed to being implemented 6 months down the line because of technicalities and logistics.
Jeff?
Oh, gotcha, man. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Good. Happy holidays. Good to be here with you all during this season and to see everybody healthy and glowing. When we talk about child rearing, I always think about things in two contexts. One is child rearing and one is the game of life. When I think about child rearing, there's a point where when you're teaching them how to use the potty, you have to look them square in the eye when they're playing and say, listen, it's time to do it or get off the pot. I think when we talk about America, many people who had high expectations for the Democratic Party being in power now, and for us seeing a new wave of compassion and a new wave of action, whether it was a COVID response or whether it was a new economic stimulus, now people are saying to Democrats, hey, it's time to do something or get off the pot. We have been waiting. We've been waiting for relief from student loans. And yes, we have a moratorium on student loan payback right now, but that expires in May. What happens after that? We haven't seen the promises come through with student loan forgiveness. We have not seen paid family leave. Every time we talk about Build Back Better, everything that seemed to be the most popular components has being hacked away little by little. When you're in the context of the game of life, I think about baseball as a metaphor. And anytime you're rooting for the home team, every batter that gets up wants to hit a home run immediately. Joe Biden wanted to hit a home run. And on several levels, in terms of taking action immediately in the first 100 days, he did. He got some home runs. He got some triples. But at this point, maybe it's time to just focus on getting a base hit. Sometimes you're going to get a walk, but if you don't get something to inspire the home team, you risk losing momentum. And in this case, what we're talking about is getting something done by any and all means necessary. If there are parts that you can get done with an executive order, so be it. If there's parts that you can parcel out into legislation, so be it. It looks like we're at a space of paralysis in terms of passing the entire package, and we run the risk of passing a package that has been so hacked out, so cannibalized that it's not even what everybody got excited about. So this is the crossroads. I say at this point, it's time to do whatever you can do in any context you can do it to get something done so that we can see some momentum toward everyone truly building back better.
Back to that Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment.
time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punches!
Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am rolling with Roland all the way.
Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Roland was amazing on there.
Stay black. I love y'all.
I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared. You dig?